Hey fellas, Terry here, rocking the fedora. I have no idea why I wanted to do this today, but like it just feels like a hat day, right? So, and then one of my friends on Facebook she didn't know this, but she posted something on with a big hat too, and I was like, it must be hat day. We all must be feeling the hats. It's like 4 degrees here in Chicago, so we're all and it's snowing again, so we're we're getting bored. I think that's what it is. So, okay guys, so we're going to be talking about healthy boundaries. And I'm going to just pull up just to see if y'all are on live, if you're saying anything. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments, which I always tend to do. I can never see the comments anymore live. I think Facebook is messing with me. So I'll just pull it up just in case you guys, are chiming in and you want me to respond. So we're going to be talking about, 3 steps to build healthy boundaries. And let's start off by talking about why you need boundaries, guys. Like, why is it important? Well, it brings order, right? You ever been around someone or in a home or a family where there's no boundaries, right? It's chaotic. It makes you feel uneasy, it's not a good feeling. So boundaries brings order, makes you feel secure, right? But not only that, guys, it helps you to define your identity. Part of having those boundaries is knowing your non-negotiables and your negotiables, where to cross the line with you, what your core values are. It helps you with your identity. It also promotes you in the eyes of others, right? When someone doesn't have healthy boundaries or strong boundaries, you see them as weak. You see them as not a leader. So it's really important that you understand what your boundaries are, what your non-negotiables are, and you uphold those things. So when you don't have those boundaries, it brings stress and chaos. And here's another thing, it continues to devalue you. And we're going to talk about that too. What's the toll on you as your self-esteem and your self-value? And so one of the biggest reasons we need boundaries, particularly if someone who's been in a toxic relationship, you've come out of a toxic relationship, you need to protect yourself from the control of others. When you have clear, defined, non-negotiable boundaries, people can't control you. So it's really important, if you're a person who's been in really unhealthy relationships or you've had issues in the past, that you really get clear on these boundaries. It brings order. It helps you promote yourself as a leader in your family, in your community, at work. So it's really important that you know what your boundaries are, but that you clearly communicate them. So step 1 is defining your boundaries. Look, no one ever says sit down and define your boundaries. I do, because it's really, it's really important that you know who you are, because like I said, it's part of redefining your identity. And let me tell y'all, divorce is a really great opportunity to redefine yourself. So one of the things that you can do is sit down and reflect. What are my boundaries? Like, what am I no longer going to tolerate from anyone anymore? Right? So divorce can kind of give you that reset button to redefine this next chapter. So defining your boundaries is step number 1. And I mean that on a conscious level, because we think we know what our boundaries are, but then when someone comes up and, oh, I'm not sure. No, you have to be clear and you have to make a conscious decision. This is a boundary. This is a non-negotiable. This is what I tolerate. I don't mess around with that. And the second thing about boundaries is clearly communicating those boundaries to those around you. Now, I've had conversations with clients where they've said, oh, I told her I will only text her twice a week. And I say, oh yeah? How'd that go? Well, she texts me all day long every day. I was like, ding, 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 ding. Okay, there is someone, yeah, James, there is someone who is not respecting your boundaries. So what was your next step? I said to this guy. And he goes, nothing. And I was like, there you go. You need to clearly communicate your boundaries and say, you know what, I am, busy at work. I just want to reiterate that I will only text you twice a week. I only respond on Tuesdays or whatever, I'm just making stuff up. But, it's okay to communicate your expectations. In fact, like I said earlier, people appreciate that. They feel more secure when they know what your boundaries are. They feel more safe in your presence. They feel, they clearly know where they stand with you. So actually, it's a good thing to communicate that. So then the third step is upholding those boundaries. Okay, so when this young woman continued to text him day in and day out, what did you do? Okay, so then you didn't have a clear, consequence for, upholding this. So this is a message to you that this person, you should not continue a relationship. This is very early on in the dating, by the way. So, this is a really great example. Oh, you clearly communicated. Oh, you clearly communicated. She continued to push your boundaries. This is the time to say, yeah, sorry, this gotta, obviously, you don't understand that I'm not, going to be available for you to text every day. It's best that we just part ways. So you have to uphold those boundaries. So let's talk about why you don't. Okay? So we've talked about why it's important to define the boundaries. We've talked about the 3 keys to what boundaries mean. Why don't you hold your boundaries? Okay, so a couple of things. You probably are saying, well, I didn't want to hurt her feelings. That's great. That's great that you think about other people, but you are not responsible for anyone else's feelings, and you're not responsible for how other people react to your needs and your desires. You're not responsible for that. You're only responsible for yourself and your feelings. So it's really important that you understand you're not responsible for whether she feels hurt or not. So the reason why you struggle to uphold those boundaries is because you don't really value yourself, or you're looking for value from someone else. Oh, well, if I hurt her feelings or I tell her no, then she won't like me anymore and I'll feel rejected and abandoned, and it goes all into those unconscious feelings of feeling rejected, feeling like a failure, feeling abandonment. But you have to know your own worth in order to understand that not everyone will like you, not everyone will stand up for you or tolerate your boundaries or whatever. And that is okay. That is okay. When you love yourself and you accept yourself and you know your worth and you know your value, you're okay with telling people no. And if they don't like it, that's on them. And if they get hurt, that's on them. If they no longer want to be in a relationship with you because of what you're not giving to them, then that's not a reciprocal relationship anyway, and you shouldn't have been in it anyway. They're using you, but here's the key that most people don't know. You're using them. You're using them because you are getting some kind of unconscious validation or approval or love, because they're giving you that love. As long as you're doing whatever they want, they'll give you what you want, which is that love and approval and that validation. But if you love and value and know your worth, you don't need that from someone else. So it's really important that you do the inner work so that you can stand up in your value, and that okay, I don't have to fear being rejected. I don't have to fear being abandoned again. So all those things play into that, all those unconscious fears, unconscious emotions, especially for men who have not had an opportunity to express them, to even, I would say, process a lot of feelings. I think men aren't given the tools or the opportunity in many circumstances, so they've had to suppress a lot of their emotions. And now is the time to really, really step up and say, you know what, this divorce taught me that, capitulating to a woman and getting their validation and doing all that really did not pay off. I still ended up rejected and hurt. and devalued and unappreciated. So now I'm going to do the inner work so that I can feel worthy on my own. And let me just tell you, when you feel worthy on your own, you'll stop attracting those ding dongs. You will stop attracting those women who are only using you. When you are very clear about your boundaries with the woman and say, yeah, I only text twice a week because I, work double shifts or whatever it is, whatever your boundaries. And there's no reason to apologize for what your boundaries, and what's a boundary for you is might be different as a boundary for me. We all have our own boundaries, and that's okay too. You don't have to apologize for that. So, you knowing that you are worth it, you knowing that you are lovable, even if someone rejects you, is really the inner work. And so that's the inner work that you have to do. And like most of you have been, abandoned either emotionally by a parent or put down. A lot of my clients have toxic moms, I would say, maybe not the best mothering and nurturing, or they've had fathers that have really been demanding and unable to please. So they end up internalizing this feeling of lack of self-worth, of devaluing themselves, feeling like a failure no matter what they do in their life. So it's really important that you do the inner work so that you stand in your confidence, you stand in your value, you protect yourself from the control of others. When you have boundaries, you're protecting yourself from the control of other people, especially partners, right? But I've seen this with the clients that I work with. When we work together, they're always shocked at how like their sibling relationships get better, their mom and dad relationships get better, their children, the relationships with their children. Because, like I said, people feel safe, they feel secure, they start to own their own value, and other people sense it. When you know who you are, other people sense that and value that too. Yeah, yes, okay, Jared. Thanks for sharing that. Horrible lack of self-worth. Yes, and I would guarantee you if we jumped on the phone, I could identify in 10 minutes that it started somewhere else, and we could pinpoint that, and then you could move past it. So this is why y'all need to be at the workshop on February 20th, because we are going to dive deep into, why you have this lack of self-worth, why you allowed your ex to cheat on you multiple times or very early on, and you gave her chance after chance after chance. Y'all, if y'all haven't heard me say, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. That's a boundary thing too, right? You don't give people chance after chance after chance after chance. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. And so we're going to be talking about like all of this stuff in depth, in person. You're going to get to ask lots of questions. This is going to be an interactive workshop, right? Men's intensive is what I'm calling it. So I'd love for you to be there with me on February 20th. I'm not seeing anybody's questions or, oh, no, I do see it on the phone. I'm sitting there looking on the computer like a big dummy. No, but I want y'all to join me on the 20th where we can really, Jared and I, we could be having a conversation and say what led up to that. What were the red flags that you missed? What was it that attracted you to her? Because there's also a part of you that is attracted to certain women or certain partners because they nurture that part of you that was abandoned. And oftentimes you'll see the red flags, but you downplay the red flags or minimize the red flags because you're like, oh, they make me feel wanted, or they make me feel worthy, or they make me feel loved, or whatever that is for you. It's different for everybody. It's different for everyone that I work with. Oh, they make me feel. I had one client who red flags, and the guy that she was dating made her feel very accepted and comfortable. She came from a very conservative religious family where she really never felt like she fit in, and she felt very ostracized, and she met this guy that made her feel very just comfortable in her skin, made her feel just, hey, I accept you the way you are. And those red flags started popping up. Luckily, she was working with me. We squashed that early on, so it didn't, keep going. And so it's really important that you understand why you tend to dismiss those red flags, why you tend to let your guard down with the healthy boundaries. So understanding it's from a place of lack of self-worth, and it's from a place of like that little person inside you, the little boy that's seeking something from that partner. So we're gonna address the 3 strategies for creating healthy boundaries. And like I said, it's gonna be a Q&A back and forth. We're going to do live coaching around this so you can stop attracting these controlling women, these cheating women, these women that are using you and manipulating you. I'm going to give you the 3-step process for getting closure, y'all, so you can let go and be free and feel good and feel at peace. Get closure from the marriage. Get closure from this divorce. A lot of people mistakenly think that the legal paper is going to make them feel good, or, oh, if only my ex-wife would just tell me why she cheated on me. Really, is there any excuse that she could give you that would feel like, oh yeah, okay, now I feel fine, I can move on? No, you have to give yourself the closure, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to give you the number 1 key for healing abandonment. Everybody knows it's like my issue, right? And I help so many men get past the abandonment, fear of rejection, heal all that stuff so that you can have a relationship from that like confident leader man in you, right? And you want to attract a confident leader woman, independent woman to you as well. So along with some other tools for healing from divorce as well. So it starts at 10 a.m. Central Time on February 20th. And, we have a lunch break. We're going to do a lunch together virtually. Unfortunately, we could do this in person. That would be awesome. But we'll do breakout rooms, and you can lunch with other guys, get to know other guys that are there with us. It's going to be amazing. And again, Q&A, questions, it's funny, like my clients come to every single one of my workshops. It's so like surprising, but the reason is every workshop is different, because I make them interactive. I make them tailor to the needs of the audience. And so no 2 like lives are the same. No 2 workshops are the same. Every time I do something, I try to give my audience what they need. So all right, so look, I want y'all to show up on February 20th. I'm going to put the link below, so make sure you join me, okay? All right, mwah. All right, I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, we'll talk about finding a new identity after divorce. All right, bye-bye.